you go.
Oh, yeah. Hello, I'm Annie Sloan.
And I'm Tristan Merriam.
And this is The Colourist.
A podcast all about colour and its influence on our lives. We are talking about Giverny blue
Yes.
and cerulean blue.
Yes.
Which really, well, it did, as we've just found out, got its name and its inspiration came from France, specifically Normandy, where we're off again on our travels to the home of Monet.
Yeah, well, it starts with cerulean blue, really. So cerulean blue is, I can remember going to art school. I've talked about art school a lot, but when I went to art school, I remember it as being a colour that I just went, oh, God. That is
incredible.
Just exquisite, because it's so bright and clean and vibrant and like nothing else I'd really seen that much. I don't know why, but I suppose at school I hadn't seen much of that sort of colour, and suddenly I'm using artist colours. And there it was, this cerulean. And of course it's got a really cool name, hasn't it?
Very
Cerulean.
cool. Cerulean, as we've found out, yes. So it's, as you say, a greeny blue, or it's got green in it.
Yeah, and it means, in Latin, heaven or sky. It's blue
right.
green.
Yeah, and it, as you say, crisp and bright, vibrant.
Yes.
This is a beautiful blue.
Yeah.
And therefore only fitting that you would have that type of blue within your range, which is Giverny.
Yeah.
Not Indian, but very much French inspired. Talk to us about...
Well, I wouldn't say... You're saying it's French inspired. It's not. It is...
Place inspired.
Yeah, and I also think it's the Impressionists.
Right.
So they went mad with it. Although the colour is, in fact, I only just found this out, it was invented very early on in the 16th century, but it wasn't made popular or used or turned into an artist colour. I think Brownies made it into a colour, I'm just reading here, in the 1860s. But I've always associated it with Monet, and he was one of the ones that when it came out, he took it up with a vengeance. He loved it.
Can you imagine a colour coming out? You know, a new colour. It's incredible. Of course you'd go mad with it.
Yeah, so he went mad
He did.
with it. Yeah.
This colour features in a lot of his work.
It does. Yeah,
and his home.
Well, to a certain extent, his home. I mean, I had the colour cerulean. I wanted to turn it into a colour. I thought, I can't call it Monet. I can't call it cerulean, because that's just, there's lots of artists colour called that. And I couldn't call it Monet because the Monet estate wouldn't like that. But I did want to make, a nod to him, because he's very important to everybody, really. And he was a great colorist. And
it's
I
all
thought,
making sense now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all making sense, exactly. And I wanted to draw attention to who, how and where and what. And Giverny is a house, or it's not actually, it's a town, a village, a tiny petit ville.
Oh, maybe even a hamlet.
Peut-être.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
We're speaking
can't remember my French from school. No.
It's a small village and a big house there, and now it's a big tourist destination. Hundreds of people go there. You have to get tickets early, and I've been there 3 times, and it is remarkable. Not so much for the blue, although the blue is there. It's actually, this is a way of saying hello to Giverny, hello to the colour, hello to cerulean, but also really Monet as a colourist.
Absolutely, and there's so much we can talk about there.
Yeah.
So Giverny, before we talk about Monet and the impact visiting his home had on you, and him as a colourist, how long ago was it that Giverny came out? Which round of colours did it come out with?
Oh, it's quite late. Oh.
I'm not asking for a specific date, just...
Like 6 years ago?
Okay, very recent then.
Really not very,
Gosh, okay.
It was a colour I missed.
Yeah.
Well, partly because of my love affair with the colour. And I know people do find it difficult. I actually don't find it difficult. but I
Well,
do
it's a
know-
very strong colour.
Very
and that, I mean, that was one of my questions, but it seems relevant to talk about it now. How do people use this colour? Because it might be one that they feel a little bit reticent.
Yeah, I know. I've heard people say, I don't know how to use it. One is that you use it with other colours which are similar, like I used it. I've got a little piece that I did which was like a Roman fresco, and I've got Giverny in there, and I've also got Florence and Amsterdam.
Well, they work very well. Florence
they're just
especially is amazing.
dreamy, absolutely dreamy.
Whites?
And some white, and I've got some dabs of Barcelona orange and yellow, and some bright yellow. But that's because I was inspired by this fresco. Now that colour would actually, thinking now, that colour is not, although it wouldn't necessarily be cerulean. I'm looking back and thinking that fresco colour probably would be azurite, and that azurite comes from a copper, which is quite a blue, bright blue, and it's Egyptian. So it's a bright bluey green. I mean, it is a beautiful, beautiful colour.
It's one of my favourites, and
Yeah.
I tend to use it when I'm painting in with more contemporary styles of painting, which is weird, and it's a contradiction because, Monet was using this colour, and it goes back hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So why am I seeing it as a contemporary colour now in the 21st century when actually it's not a contemporary colour in many ways?
Yes, but he was a colorist, and it's from the modern world. It's not the ancient world.
No.
Although all these colours, everything comes back and around and comes again and again, and and so I think that Monet was such a great colorist. He understood colour so well. Those people.
So would you like to talk first about him as a colorist or about his home? Which one would you like to talk about?
Oh gosh, I'm going to talk about. I don't know where to start really, because they're both so important.
I know.
I think if you're wondering about how to use the colour and just looking at it as a colour, go to his paintings, have a look at Monet's paintings.
I think that's a good place to start.
It is good,
because we're all familiar with the work of Monet.
Yeah.
Surely.
Oh, I don't know. I think lots of people have heard the name, don't know what to
Really?
look
Okay,
at.
I'd be interested. Yeah, maybe that's correct. But yeah, let's talk about his work and how he builds in other colours into his palette.
Well, one of the things he did a lot, and like the rest of the Impressionists, they use complementaries a lot. So he would use a blue sky, but there's lots of oranges in it. So that means that the colours pop out, which is beautiful. I love the way.
Because blue and orange being complementary.
Blue and orange are complementary. That means they're opposite each other on the colour circle or colour triangle. And so it also, that blue is got a lot of, they're always a lot painting out what they call in plein air, outside. And they would paint using, going outside. So he would be using blue skies and blue water a lot. And so that would give it, a lot of depth, because blue goes in, it goes back further and further. So it's got a colour with lots of depth. And then he would increase that by putting bits of orange. The orange pop forward, complementary, and pop everything blue back, and the orange comes forward.
And also a lot of greens.
Because
if he's outside, there's obviously going to be a lot of botanicals. And
I mean, practically everything you look at, which is Monet, has got some of that blue in it.
It really does.
It is incredible.
And there are people who might not have heard of Monet, as we just said.
Oh, yeah.
If that is the case, there probably will be people who have not heard of the Impressionists. So can you explain briefly what that means?
Yes. I mean, the Impressionists were around the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century. Monet was one of the main people. Well, there's loads of them, but he was one of them. He was a great colorist, as I've said, and they worked very much with the idea of complementary colours. They were impressionists in that people thought that they didn't know how to draw and they just did daubs and daubs and stuff. What they were doing was trying to pick up stuff which was actually as they saw it, and not doing a leaf
Not
careful
lifelike.
Not lifelike. It was more the feeling of
or the
things.
impression of
I mean,
it.
there's a million things I'm going to sort of go very quickly through this. And Monet was a French painter. I mean, I think that's probably enough for anybody. And he lived and worked a lot of the time in Giverny. They worked a lot, and Giverny is in the north.
I was about to say whereabouts
Yes,
geographically.
it's in Normandy, near to Paris. So people might know that I have a house in Normandy, but mine's on the left side, on the west side.
Yeah. Here we go again. Yeah.
I always have to do this.
Yeah.
On the left west.
Never eat shredded wheat.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
No. Okay.
I've got to have a picture, and I'm on the left. That's
Okay.
Left is west, and then there's Paris, which is sort of centrally but north, and it's just near there. But you can drive to Giverny from our house in Normandy, so it's about good, I think 4 or 5 hours or something like that. Because by the time you've spent the day there and then you drive back, you're exhausted.
Absolutely.
But it is fantastic. You want to spend the whole day there, which I've done several times. Brilliant. And he lived there and died there, and he did his famous water lilies. So you may not have heard of Monet, but you will have heard of water lilies,
yes.
which are, they are synonymous with Monet. They are Monet.
And when you're talking about having an impression of a scene in front of you with water lilies, you can so clearly see those blobs of colour.
Yeah.
Because you've got the little bits of pink and the flower, the green, the blue, the whites. That you can so picture that if you haven't.
And he did lots and lots
of work.
He did lots and lots of versions of water lilies. He did loads and loads of them. If you go there, you'll see some of them there. The huge, big. He's got an incredible studio there. And but some of the blues are more blue than others. There's so some have got more cerulean, some have got less, and some are paler, some are stronger. Anyway, it's all very inspiring.
Yeah, completely. How long ago? Well, what was the date when Monet died?
He died in 1926. Not that long ago.
No.
Just realised it's nearly 100
years ago.
Wow, that's amazing.
We should really have released this on, not his death anniversary, that'd be a bit strange and sombre, but there's something to be had there next year.
That's lovely, we can do a Giverny.
100 years, you're right, it's not long ago.
Not really long ago.
It really isn't.
No.
But his house is still able to be visited.
Yes.
You can go in, which you have done several times. I'm definitely going to go.
Yeah.
What is his house like then? How does it compare to his art?
Well, it's quite different. I mean, it's basically a big garden with a big house. The house has got green, quite a strong Florency green, but bluer, darker, and it's pink. So it's a pinky, earthy pink colour, and there's this green, and it's quite strong and vibrant. I'm not completely convinced I love it, but it's powerful. His combinations there are extraordinary. So you get that, and then you go inside the house, and there is, maybe famous for some people, a kitchen. Have you seen the pictures of the kitchen?
Mm-hmm. Completely.
Yellow.
I mean, literally, everything is the same shade of yellow, all bar a few bits and a slightly different shade of yellow again, but it's all yellow.
It's all yellow. It is incredible. And it's all painted furniture, but it's all yellow.
I wonder what the thinking was behind that. Just fun, or is there something deeper?
I think he loved colour, and I think that's what I found very pleasing, because it is a man who loved colour. So his kitchen is completely yellow. Then you go into the dining room is completely yellow. It's a sort of kitchen dining room. Then you go around the corner, and the kitchen is blue. And
green shutters that you sort of see poking in from the outside.
Yeah.
But strong colours. And I have to admit, I'm very familiar with Monet and his work. I had no idea. I knew nothing about his home. Yeah. So it's music to my ears that his home is just as inspiring as his work. Because, like it or not, it's impressive.
It is.
And some inspiring, of the colours I think.
Yeah, I think so. Some of the colours are quite strange and weird.
Yes.
I do find it annoying that they have so many other people who go there, don't they know I need to go there on my own?
It's your house. We've had this before. So yeah, talk about some weird combinations that we've got here.
Well, one of my favourites and real surprises for me, there is a door on woodwork, which is a sort of, I don't know, it's probably a Henrietta sort of colour. It's a slightly pinky, bluey, pinky, quite strong grey, blue pink. Anyway, it's a pink.
Yeah.
And that's the door, and the walls are green, a sort of soft, actually quite cooler bar green.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe a bit more yellow.
I think the image we're talking about, it's quite insipid, I feel. The colours, whereas I don't mean your colour, cooler bar green, but this particular image, I feel like it's quite strange because it's quite insipid.
I think if you look on that side of the wall, it's greener than that. That looks quite pale blue, and it is the lighting there. I did find it very difficult when I took photographs there because
it doesn't represent.
Well, it's also quite difficult because people keep walking in, and just when you're taking photographs, someone walks past, and all of that.
Yeah, you need a private viewing.
Those annoying people.
Yeah, but it's quite wacky.
I think it's wacky
for this period in time.
Yeah.
Early 19th century.
There's a sort of quite some yellowy green walls, and more yellow green, and a sort of another more purpley ground woodwork and doors. There are a sort of a grey blue colour. There's also a bedroom which is just white walls and white painted furniture.
A bit like Frida's bedroom.
Yeah. And blue tiles everywhere. What else is there? There's a lot of copper, and blues and yellows together. The big thing that you take away from there, which again I think people are, when they go there, I don't think they always notice what they're looking, or they don't perhaps understand it because it's quite weird. There's two things. One is when you go from one room to the next. So one room will be one set of colours, you go to the next, and there's another set of colours. So you very quickly see. So there's blue woodwork with green walls, and that goes into the next room, and you can see it very clearly. And on the walls, there are lots of Japanese woodcuts.
So he was clearly inspired by Japanese art generally, or this specific type of Japanese art?
Well, I think it was the woodcuts, which apparently came in, I think this is a great story, I don't know how true it is, they came into Europe as wrapping paper, some of these woodcuts, because they weren't valued in Japan at that time, or they were cheap, and people started discovering them.
Framing the wall, with wrapping paper.
So can you imagine?
We've all been there and done that, haven't we?
Oh yeah, I use my Japanese woodcuts like that all the time. I love Japanese woodcuts, and I have quite a few myself. There's something called Floating World, which are these, there's a period, I think it's Edo, and they are flat blue, often with blues, and they are of lovely events, pleasure-giving events, and they're often of scenes in enjoyment. It could be just, there's a lovely one I'm looking at here, which is mine, and it's a big wheel. I'm not sure what the wheel does, but it's something, a big wheel, and some little doggies.
Oh, yeah.
And on the floor there's some little bits of watermelon.
Yeah, half eaten.
And it's a boating scene in the background. There's harbour, and it's all a vivid Giverny.
Yeah, I was going to say what links these together is Giverny. There's this blue within them. Not that one particularly is very Giverny all over, really.
Yes.
But the others we're looking at, there are flecks of Giverny.
Yes.
It's not the dominant colour.
It's not the dominant colour, but everything's, funnily enough, very flat. But there's something in there that he was obviously very influenced by, because he wasn't into flat colour, but because he was into lots of expression, and these are not. But I think it's the composition of these that he loved, which is really interesting, because you've got a half wheel. In my other ones, you've got some arms coming in from the side, another one a flag, which is partly seen, and another one somebody's leg. And so often you're getting these parts. I think that's fascinating.
Did he take that inspiration into his compositions? Not really, as far as I can picture.
I can't.
But he must have just loved these and had them up in his home. Simple as that, maybe.
Who knows what it was? Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure lots of people do.
But his work didn't really have a Japanese inspiration behind it, did it?
I'm not aware of it, but I'm sure.
But isn't it lovely that you visited his home, this amazing artist, and you have the pleasure of seeing what interested him? And there are quite a lot, as you say, up on the walls in his home.
Yeah.
Some of the paintings in his house, very strangely, and I don't know if this just reflects his kind of creativity or eccentricity, I'm not sure, but there's a door, and one of the paintings is half on the wall and half hanging over the door, and then there's another painting underneath on the door. There's some wardrobe doors with paintings literally sort of hung up on those doors. Not something you see very often.
Yeah. I would say that this house is not what you go. You don't go there for interior design.
No.
You go there because it's a beautiful, interesting home. And so it's full of odd bits and pieces.
Odd, yeah, that's exactly
it.
An artist's home.
It's an artist's home, yeah.
So it should be a little bit
things I
quirky.
like, things you think are interesting, and you put them together.
Yeah.
And of course there's the famous bridge in the gardens in Giverny, where there's some wisteria hanging down, which is sort of purpley, and there's this bridge,
and that is
in the garden.
Oh wow!
That is a little bit like sharp intake of breath when you see that, because you're like, oh, wow, that's that. Oh, it's that bridge.
He sat here and did this on a sunny summer day.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did lots of that. I mean, he did paint outside all the time. And you do go there and you see lots of photographs of it all. But I think as a colourist, it is fantastic, because you do see that thing that I'm always going on about, boringly going on about, complementary colours. And if you think, oh, it doesn't really work, well, yes, it does. And he used it a lot. So when you look at colours, you'll see that his things are not flat, but made up of lots of textures and bits and layers and layers
and quite small touches of complementary colours.
Yes.
I mean, it just might be the odd flower here and there in red that then complements the blue, say, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not huge masses of it.
No, it isn't. The other thing that we will find, that thing that I also talked about, it's also a big thing with Seurat, is that he won't paint something black, although from afar it looks black.
Oh, yes.
But when you look up close, it's actually red and blue, or orange and blue, rather.
Crazy, isn't it? It works. It's a thing which we'll do a whole episode on.
Yeah.
I think there's strong links with his painting and his home, because both show off his kind of ability with colour and his ability to put combinations together. Not necessarily in the home that work, in our opinion, but he was brave enough to try it, and he clearly lived and breathed colour.
Yes, he did. And also he's got, this house might have been an old house that he went into. He's got quite strongly brown and cream floor tiles, and he's tried to work with them.
I noticed this as well in the images, because nowadays you might think, oh, that floor's not going to work with my wall colour and my bright yellow kitchen, so you'd cover them up. But you're right, he just made do with it, and it's a bit of a clash, but it kind of...
Or, of course,
interestingly
he might have put them in.
Yeah.
Because I think his idea of colour is so interesting.
But you do look at those tiles and some of the brighter, fresher colour combinations, and they don't quite work.
Yeah.
But he might have thought, that's perfect, I want it to be jarring.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It just seemed... It's a light purple woodwork and a green, pale greeny yellow.
Yeah.
I mean, I really love it. I don't know if I would paint. I've always wanted to try it, but I've never done it. But in his house, it was fine, except I did think, whoa,
Yeah.
this is, and I'm quite I'm a bit bold with colour.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not many people bolder than you with colour. How have you been inspired by Monet in your painting in terms of furniture? Have you done any pieces that are sort of loosely inspired by Monet?
Not
we'll talk about
really.
the fresco
I
stuff.
think my fresco one is the one I can remember the most. I must have done plenty of others with Giverny. I can't remember anything in particular, although at the time when Giverny came out, I would have painted something certainly in Giverny. But I think it's really as a combination colour for me, although I've done plenty. We've done blue things. You've done blue.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I use it all the time. And I suppose for me, the inspiration from Monet, I think to kind of recreate his style on furniture, one, it would take a long time because it wasn't something quick and easy that you can just knock up. You've got to build up the layers and the depth, and there's a lot more to it. But I think the one thing I would take is using just touches of colour. So like in the last episode when you were talking about your Jaipur pink piece, when you were saying it's primer red, Jaipur pink over the top, and then you've got little touches of Florence, little touches of red and orange. I think that's what I take from Monet, that you can bring in the tiniest amount of the complementary colours and pull it together in that way. So it might not look like a Monet painting by any means, but it's taking that notion.
I think, yes, it's true. I think also, and I think I'm quite inspired to paint a piece like this. In his kitchen, which is lots and lots of blue, he's got a wonderful sort of buffet type piece of furniture, which uses a bookcase. And that's mainly Giverny, a sort of Giverny with white in it. So it's mainly a pale blue with the edgings, all the moulding around the edges of the furniture and all the rest of it are all in blue. Gosh, when I'm in France...
it's a really lovely picture, this picture, because the piece itself is gorgeous, but then he's taken this idea of the outlining, basically, white with blue outlines, onto the ceiling panels, onto the picture rail, onto the dado rail, onto the panelling, skirting boards, and the whole room has this theme of white and blue. Amazing.
You've seen the ceiling?
Yeah, and the clock in the corner, that's exactly the same style.
Yeah.
He really went for it with his rooms, didn't he?
He
had like
did.
the yellow room, the blue and the white room.
I'd love to know if he did it himself. I'd love to know that.
That must be documented somewhere. I'm sure we could find that out.
Yes. Now, there is a book by Frances Lincoln, which I'll put all the information. She was the publisher, rather. And
I think I've got this book at home.
I will show you that. We'll take some photographs of it to show, because it's a great book to get, because it has got a lot of the colour combinations shown in the book. So I think if anybody was really interested, I think you should see if you can probably get it on bookshops online.
Oh gosh, I thought you were going to say a naughty word then, beginning with A.
Oh no, it's not a naughty word.
I think,
online.
Yeah, his interiors, I've been completely surprised at how much his interior has inspired me. I was not expecting that. So thank you for introducing me to that, and I'm hoping people will feel the same when they take the time to just look at photos of his home.
Yeah.
Because it surprised me.
I think a lot of people go to Giverny just wanting to see the gardens, and I don't think they take enough care of the inside. The problem going to Giverny is you want to see the garden in May when it's looking amazing, but then of course 1 million people are there.
So you can't see it.
Really I should go. I don't think they open the whole year. I think they open in somewhere like April, close in October, but I should go early in the season. And that will mean that you could probably concentrate a little bit more on the garden. Not on
people
the
might
house.
just think the house is a bit crazy and they've come for the bridge and that's it. But
Yeah,
to me, I'm inspired by
and the
his
garden,
thinking.
The garden is amazing. It's got huge amounts. He spent a lot of time there. Sunflowers, everything. It's all documented on his painting.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It is incredible. Well, that has been a fascinating episode, learning all about Giverny and cerulean blue. Stay tuned for the next episode, but thank you very much for listening. This has been Giverny and cerulean blue.
Thank you very much.